The design you see here is for the rear of an enclosed sort of courtyard, and features some bifold doors stepping down onto timber decking, then a further step down to some paving area, and then a substantial water feature at the end of that paved area. There's some more paving bricks under the paving bricks here, an underground tank for irrigation purposes, and sort of adult seating here. So it's a relatively complex design, but whenever we select a symbol representing a species, over on the left hand side here, the botanical name, common name and code show. Let's choose another one. We'll pick this rather taller tree. It's a flowering plum, a prunus species. So I think you can see that the design is nearly ready for presentation, but we want to generate a plant schedule. Before generating a plant schedule, I want to take a very quick look at the plant list that's associated with this design. It has botanical name, common name, type, code and pot size, and I'll close that. Then I want to make sure that all the symbols in the drawing have indeed been assigned to one of the species in that rather small list. So I can go gCADPlus and show symbols with names, and you can see those symbols that have had names assigned to them are highlighted. So I'm fairly confident now that we can generate the plant schedule, and gCADPlus will count the number of individual instances of each species and produce us a nicely formatted plant schedule. I'll put the schedule down in this area at the bottom of the screen. So it's gCADPlus. You can see in the list here we've got tools for if you make a mistake you can remove data from a symbol and so on. You can, in a big drawing, you can search for a symbol, but I digress. Let's see if we can draw the standard schedule. If you look down in the command area here, the prompt says input a text type. Well, I've rehearsed this, 150 is fine, and I want to put the corner point of the schedule in and then the opposite corner, and that gives us the schedule, but can you see it's a little tight? So I'll repeat the schedule again, zoom out just a little and pan across using the wheel of the mouse and input a corner point there. We clearly need a little more height, and there's our plant schedule. Now if we select, say, one of these here, you can see that's the Gymea lily, Doranthus. Let's just, for the sake of argument, we'll have a look in here. There are 6 of them at the moment in the design, just to show you that if we copy maybe 2 more instances of it, we'll tuck them in there. Obviously too tight, but we can now go gCADPlus and update that schedule, and the 6 should be changed. Now we've now gone from 6 to 8. So that's the standard schedule, but you also have an opportunity, and I'll pick it, it's a block, you can dive in and edit it if you want. I'll explode it for the moment, but you also have the opportunity to run a custom schedule, and it asks for rather more questions. Do we want to include the symbol? We'll say yes. Do you want some red markers? These can be lifted out of the block and stamped in the drawing if you want. Let's say yes, and including the type, yes, the code, yes, the pot size, yes, botanical name, yes, common name, yes. Do we want them printed under the botanical name? That saves a bit of space, but we'll say no, and 150. So we're clearly going to need a much wider schedule here. So I'll go out a reasonable distance, and there we are. So this plant species here, which is for the Betula pendula, doesn't show up terribly well in there, and you might want to fix that by diving into the schedule and let's have a quick look at, diving into the symbol. Let's have a look at it. We'll edit it, and has been used to transparency with hundreds being set there, and a fill is on, you might want to say, well, we need to put a border in there, and we need a border colour. I'll say 251, and then we'll close. Can you see? You can edit things on the fly, and that gives us a slightly better definition of the species. To illustrate if we look here, we've got yellow everlasting specified at the base of this tree here. To illustrate why you might want to use the marker, there's a code number 4 for the yellow everlasting in that zone. If you jump into edit, or just explode the block, although that stops your ability to automatically update, but there are some users who, I want to move it, sorry, I want to copy the red symbol from there and stamp it in like so. It just is another way of indicating mass planting of one species. So I hope you can see that the custom plant schedule does give you a reasonable amount of versatility. Looks as though we've missed the pot size for the Santolina. So we go back into gCADPlus, edit the plant list, pot size we've just said tube. So it clearly wants to have, let's say, a 50mm tube, and we'll change this one to 50mm as well, and OK it. It being the custom schedule seemed to miss the text in here and did get the text in that one. So that's something for us to look further at. But I hope you can see that gCADPlus gives you quite a lot of versatility in the generation of plant schedules.